Hi runners, Steve and Margot here, coaches and podiatrists from In Training Running Centre. We help runners manage your running by providing training programs, footwear advice, injury management strategies and rehabilitation programs. Keeping you on the road to reach your goals and to enjoy your running is our highest priority.
And today we're going to talk about how you can maintain your fitness gains that you got over the year, over the summer and holiday season.
We have 8 tips that we'd like to give you to help with that.
Yeah, and after a year of hard training, most people are ready for a rest, both physically and mentally. And these are just a few ways to maintain your motivation for running while also recovering and building back your reserves for the next season.
Steve, you've got a great story about Phil Teakle and how you have worked with him over the summer to launch him every year into a new season of PBs.
Yeah, he's an amazing runner. He's run personal bests in almost every distance every year, right up to the marathon. And what we've done over the summer each year is that we've had his training program focus on trying to get faster over 5 kilometers. So every year he's begun the year with a 5 kilometer personal best at the beginning of the year. It's like the perfect way to start the next season.
But what we're going to do now is give you the 8 tips that will take you from the end of the year to that beginning of the year, and maybe you too can have some success like Phil.
Yeah, so tip number 1 is to stop worrying about your pace, because everything we do with all of our training programs is basically to teach people pace judgment, to become master pacers. But now that we're in this off season, it's really important that you don't feel that pressure to try to stick to a pace anymore.
You have to give your head a rest.
Yeah, and that allows you then to start the next year being able to focus on pace again.
Tip number 2?
So tip number 2 is about maintaining your frequency or a number of sessions you do a week, but reducing your quantity. So rather than saying I need to cut back my training by 40%, I'm just going to cut out 40% of my runs, which means if you're doing 5 runs a week, you might go back to doing 3 runs a week. It's actually better to keep up your 5 runs a week, but just reduce your overall quantity in each run.
It's all about maintaining the routine, because it's easier then to pick that up when you're ready to start in the new year.
Yeah, the biggest risk that you have with your training is that when you start to cut back the number of runs and suddenly you've cut it back to 0 and you're not running, and then you've lost all of your benefits.
Tip number 3.
So tip number 3 is about adding a higher level of intensity, and it's actually related a bit to the previous tip, because you're only allowed to do that higher level of intensity because you've cut back on the quantity. So if you think of your normal training during the year, we almost never run at 100%. It's really just maybe power sessions. You might do it once or twice a year. But generally speaking, you want to have all of your training at a level that's not 100%, so that you can save that for races and you can actually have increasing quantity. But now that we've cut back the quantity, you can actually add a little bit more of that higher intensity stuff, and that's reflected a bit in our training sessions. We do a lot of shorter reps, a lot of more fun stuff where you're sort of responding to other people, and it's just adding a different type of training that you're able to do during this time. And it's also hotter too, which makes it easier to do that stuff.
Yeah. Tip number 4 is to add some strength training, such as cross training or hill work.
Yeah, so a really great time of the year to try to develop your strength. It's pretty hard to do that during the main part of the season when you've got so much training load on. But during this time, you can add weights session or hill training, as Margot said, is probably the ideal way of getting strong as a runner. And that might mean going out and adding your runs over a lot of hills, or it could be that you're going to do some hill repetitions on a Saturday, or find a hillier park run to run. That all of those things can build up your strength so that you can start the next season with a bit of extra strength. And the other aspect of this is just core stability. So it's a really good idea to try to develop your core stability during this off season, so you can start the next season, as I said, in really good shape with a lot of control.
Tip number 5 is to focus on shorter events. And Stevie, this is the part I really love, because there's so much pressure and it's aiming for those long events throughout the year. to scale it back and aim for 5K park runs, have that more of a focus.
Or
Have
10K.
The 10K, have the track racing. You can start to do a lot of that shorter distance. It makes a big difference to your ability to maintain your motivation and develop a strength that you can't really get when you're doing all the long miles.
Yeah, I think there aren't many long events anyway over summer, but it's a little bit more dangerous to do long races when it's hot. So you have to really readjust your goals in that time. But when you focus on shorter events, you can do a lot of them. It doesn't knock you around much. And so, yeah, it's really good. And this leads us to the next point, which is to try something new, like track races or trail runs or even triathlon. You know, all of those are really great ways of having a refocused goal. It's not your prime goal that you always have for your running, but it's some new sort of goal that you can add. And there are heaps of track races around. Almost every weekend there's a Masters track race, or Queensland Athletics have races. There's trail races just about every weekend. And you can do short triathlons. So even if you're not a very good swimmer and cyclist, you can go do super sprint ones, which is like a 400-meter swim and a 10K cycle or something. So, you know, it's really accessible for you to do and try these different things. And again, that adds a little bit of fun to your off season that keeps you motivated.
And tip number 7 is to do a weekly tempo run. Now, Steve, explain how that's a little different from just doing the track racing or the 5K park run racing.
Well, it doesn't have to be different, but it's just that the research shows that if you cut back a lot on your training, you can actually maintain your fitness for quite a long time just by doing a hard 5 kilometers once a week. And so that could be just doing the park run. Ideally, you would do more training than that, but you know, over the holiday period, some people miss out on it. But what you shouldn't do is just cut out all of your intensity. If you just go and do easy runs all summer, you will lose a lot of your fitness.
And that's now to our final tip, which is to start setting some goals for 2022.
Yeah, it can seem like it's a long time away to start to think about your goals, but at the same time, if you don't have some idea of what you want to achieve next year, it's really a lot harder to stay motivated to be able to achieve them. So I think it's really good to sit down. I sit down with my athletes that I'm coaching, and we work out, you know, what do you want to achieve next year? Which races you want to do? What times you ideally would like to do? And you know, as you get closer to those goal races, you readjust those goals. But at the same time, if you set them now, you're going to be in a lot better mental state and physical state, most likely, when you get to the new season.
Some of my runners like to come in and get a program now to have it more as an accountability training program. So that we'll have loose goals for 2022, which get firmed up obviously in the new year, but it's more about making sure that they do keep the routine, they do have the element of fun, they take the intensity off everything and start bringing the focus on the shorter strength type of summer running, which is what we've included in all the 8 tips. So if you have like our run talks, make sure that you share them, share it with your friends, and you can go to our Runtalk YouTube. And also, Steve spoke about core strength. If you sign up onto the link below, we will email you our 3 key exercises that you can use and do at home that has core strength included as well.
That's great. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next time. We love running.